P here. I'm going to be discussing the latest episode of Breaking Bad. I don't know if anybody is a fan of there. I'm actually quite surprised that most people are not up to date with the show as I am and some of my friends. But let's get into the discussion. First of all, in the beginning of the episode, it is just it is a shocker because we see Marie and everyone else just sitting around with like the police and them figuring out what to do, the lawyers, because some of the DEA lawyers and federal agents are trying to link Skylar, Walter White's wife, into the ties of Hiesenberg, which when you look at it from a law standpoint, you definitely can rationalize with them and be like, all right, I understand where you're coming from. You have to do your job. You can't see her as some poor victim who was thrown into this mix in this bad situation. You have to look at it as a more mature and a more job type standard. And so I kind of felt bad for Skylar because at this point her husband is on a ride. He is AWOL. He's just disappeared, and over time you see her life flashing right before her because she went from this loving housewife who just adored her family to this sort of cold, withdrawn type of woman who is just trying to cling on to the last nerve she has, and her family is all she has left. And it shows how much she still cares for Walter, because even though she may at sometimes seems to not care and be a total bitch, you can definitely see that she's struggling with the sides whether she should go and save her family, as in her kids, Marie, and all that she cares about, or should she still include Walter and still try to help him out. And that causes her a lot of issues because her herself is just an emotionally unstable woman, and it's just kind of it conflicts with their emotions a lot, because one season you may hate her, next season you love her, then the next you're just like, I don't know what to think of her. And she's a wild card, basically. All right, let's get into the episode. It had much less dialogue and much less action than the previous episode, where Walter kidnaps a child and then calls up the anonymous guy to drive him to wherever and get him completely disappeared off the grid. But it is stated that he is in New Hampshire, and over time, while he's staying with, well, himself in New Hampshire, we just see him become more of a human and less of this Hiesenberg scary figure, because in one of the scenes, Walter is offering to pay the man who obviously took him to New Hampshire, got him off the grid, is offering to pay him $10,000 to stay with him for 2 hours, because over the few months he's been there, he's become very thin because it's cancer. Some of the symptoms are coming back, and he is just very lost and very scared and just very lonely. It shows the more human characteristics of Walter, which we haven't seen for a very long time, because he's scared. He actually cares about his family. Well, he's always cared about his family, but we see it more so. He's just more of a human, more of a human relationship we can see, and we can just sort of bond and sort of just relate to him more than we were able to in the past few episodes or the past, season or so. And I kind of like that, because it's starting to show that even though Walter may be perceived by others to be a very bad person, he himself has not shed any blood except for 3 people. And within this time, the one was to, cover up the fact that he was doing the meth deal early on in season 1. And then the second time was to save Jesse from doing a stupid mistake and getting into a gun war with 2 of Gustavo's men. And then the third time was when he accidentally shot Mike. Some people may debate it was an accident, but from my standpoint, I think it was an accident, because when you're holding a gun and then you're telling yourself, don't shoot, and then somebody reacts the way that you're hoping them not to, it's just human nature. It's just a survival tactic to just react in a way that is defensive. And I know people are like, oh, defensive, he's Heisenberg, he did it on purpose, but I try to see it as if that he did not want to kill Mike. He was just trying to be like, no, stop, and then bang, it went off. But other than that, Walter is just basically all talk. He has a lot of men doing his bidding and doing his work for him, sort of like Gustavo. That's how I like to see it. But he himself has always had an ulterior motive and a greater reason for doing what he did. His family was the main cause. He started off being this chemistry teacher who was just so fascinated by all the possibilities in this world, to finding out he had cancer, terminal cancer, like throat cancer, lung cancer. And he, like, not having the funds, not having the finances to be able to pay off the treatments, and then his old time friends offering to pay it for him. And Walter has a lot of pride, which we've seen, because he completely denies, and just the fact that, he took their money. He doesn't want people to treat him or take care of him. He's basically Hank. He wants to be able to do everything himself. He hates giving up. And the fact that he is so close to meeting his demise, either by the cops, either by his cancer, either by his own craziness, his own loneliness, or just anyone else, we just see him coming out of his shell. His shell is starting to break. We're starting to see his skin. We're starting to see who he is inside and just how vulnerable he really is. And I'm starting to like that. But my issues with the episode: first of all, they added a lot more situations that became very problematic to how they're going to wrap up the show. Because on AMC, if you watch the show, the commercials usually tend to be about 4 to 6 minutes long, and the show itself is maybe like 45 minutes long. And so at the end of the last episode, we saw Walter's two co-founders of Gray Matter, and they denied any affiliation with Walter White because Walter White isn't there. He was gone long ago. And I didn't appreciate how the woman and him, I forget their names right now, they were just like, no, Walter may claim that he helped found this business, but in reality, he's just some crazy chemistry teacher who believes that anything that he thinks of is rightfully his. And I was just like, listen, are you really doing this right now? Like, are you really shooting him down? And we see Walter's face come from kind of pissed off because and sad that his son and his whole family shunning him away, to this revengeful Hiesenberg that we're all so used to. And it kind of shows you that even though he is at his on his last legs, he's gonna go out, and he's gonna go out with a boom. Either go big or go home. That is his motto. And another point I really did not like is the fact that through it all, we've been seeing some flash forward scenes where we see Walter either in a diner, either he's, at the house years ahead or months ahead, or either he is, looking in the back of his car in artillery. And it's just like, what are they going to use with these scenes in the new episode? Because I really want it to go out fantastically, but to be honest, I don't know what to expect from this. I honestly do not. I want to say I want Walter to win, but at the same time, it is very hard to believe that he is going to actually succeed in any of this. He's going to probably succeed in taking out one or two groups of people, either the people who fucked him over with Gray Matter, he's going to probably set them right, or the neo-Nazis. He's not going to get his family back. The law isn't going to go easy on him, because even though we may see him as like somebody we dearly love or dearly hate, depending who you are and your morals and your lust for adventure and action, or your lust for peace and kindness. It just ultimately depends who you are and how you feel towards some of the characters. Personally, me, I'm rooting for Hiesenberg, but my mom was rooting for Hank. She is disgusted by Walter, and it's just like, how are they going to play it out? If he takes out the neo-Nazis, it's going to cause a ruckus, and it's going to cause such a commotion that in reality, the police are going to find out and be like, Walter, we surrounded. Either you come with us or we shoot you down. You are federally wanted. You are on the wanted list, like America's top wanted or whatever. And just something like that. And so I just think either Walter is just going to decide to silently kill one or two people, the ones that have affected his life negatively the most, and just go back into hiding and hopefully keep contacting those he loves and start a new life, or he's just going to be like, listen, I'm going to go to jail. I give up. My family doesn't want me anymore. I have no friends. Everyone fears me. Everyone knows who I am. There's no way I can live like this anymore. I just want to serve my time and just get it over with, because I figure if there's one last thing I could do for my family is to do them this one last penance and just let it all be over, because I don't want to put them in any more grief, any more trouble than they are. I've scared my son. I probably put my daughter in a very bad situation. All the money that I've worked and nearly died for how many years and months is just all gonna go to waste. There's no point in doing this, and that's how I maybe see it going. But in reality, remember, Walter's too proud, and maybe, hopefully, I'm not sure, he may suck up his pride and just own up to what he did and just let it be done. But well, how about you guys tell me what you thought? Wilson P here. If you don't mind, if you like my discussion, if you agree with some of my points, like and subscribe, and see you next time.